Lovie is optimistic. And here's the thing. We know he's going to say he's optimistic, but he is really optimistic, as in comparing the Texans to the Bengals optimistic. And I quote, "We won 4 games this year. The Bengals won 4 the year before, and this was a big year for them," Smith told Peter King last week. "We don't have to wonder. We just saw a team do it. Someone's going to make that jump. Someone always does. Why not us?"
Can we stop with this? And, I like that
Hashtag why not us.
I like that Lovie Smith has been, I think he has been willing to acknowledge the fact that the Texans have lost a lot of this city. Because they have. They lost a lot of this city already, but they've lost a lot of people over the last couple of years. So I like hearing him say, we have to earn fans back. But stop. Don't say this. That Bengals team was good going into last year, in a way. Now, I thought last season, and since Joe Burrow got hurt, it changed. But I thought when they got Joe Burrow into the Bengals, I was like, well, with the Browns, Bengals, Steelers, and Ravens, this is the best division in the NFL. I thought it was better than that of the NFC West. That was the conversation I was having up in Seattle. And then, of course, Joe Burrow gets hurt early on in the year because there's not a very good offensive line in front of him. Look, had he played that whole season, I don't think we're talking about one of the worst teams in the league that's able to draft Jamar Chase the next year. To make a comparison like that, you're going to set fans that maybe are looking at you and like, oh, he's a little more candid. Oh, he gets it. They're going to look at you and say, oh, no, he's just the same old, same old. He's just continuing the same BS where this organization acts like they're close and they never have been.
Here's what I think Lovie is navigating. And this is not a report, but this is, it feels to me like he's navigating this. Lovie Smith likes to keep it real. He is not, however, working for a regime that has done that now. And I think they gave him a bone when they had him promote Pep to offensive coordinator, when they let him do that, because that is what he wanted. He loves Pep. He talked about it. He wanted Pep as OC. Not that that was a bad hire anyway, but we know that Lovie went to bat for Pep Hamilton. I think that Lovie is battling that he wants to sometimes keep it real, but he also has to play the corporate game, as so many people do in America. It's really optimistic, but I've brought it up before that the Bengals are proof of a quick turnaround. The caveat to the quick turnaround is that the Bengals had to have Joe Burrow, let's be honest, get hurt again, because then they went back to not being very good. And then they get to draft this incredible player who happened to be his best friend from college, who he already had a rapport yet. If you haven't heard the story, Jamar Chase literally found the neighborhood Joe Burrow was living in and knocked on people's houses until somebody sold Jamar Chase their house. And Jamar did this so he could live in the same neighborhood as Joe Burrow. So many things had to happen for the Bengals to go as far as they did. So I do think that the Bengals are proof that a quick turnaround can happen. Is that realistic in Houston?
It's sort of the same, though, as saying, yeah, you can find Tom Brady at pick 199. You can find Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. All of these things can happen, but they are so far away from happening here. The Texans have to realize that if you're trying to make a turnaround happen, you have to have somebody that people are actually going to look at and say, okay, at the very least, I like this guy. At the very least, I'm willing to give this guy a shot. Maybe it's because you think he's a nice person, you'd be willing to have a beer with him, or maybe it's because you feel like the guy's actually got a lot of acumen going. And one way, I think, to just win people over is just to be blatantly honest. But Vanessa, you mentioned being candid. To me, this doesn't feel like he's being blatantly honest.
Really?
Here. No, I feel like I'm still being sold something here. And if I'm being sold something, sorry, out. That team does not get to talk to me. That is my
right. They need to prove it to the fans.
I have a friend that I don't even think I would call a friend, really.
Oh, okay.
This person had, and I haven't talked to him in a really long time, but this person would ask me to lunch, and I knew every time this wasn't going to be a lunch. This was going to be, he was going to pitch me on how I can give him my money for him to invest in certain things.
Oh no!
And I never went to any of these lunches, so I always knew what was coming.
Right.
And that's where I'm at with the Texans right now. I always know what you're trying to do. You're going to do some BS about how Jack Easterby isn't a problem. You're going to give me some BS about how, hey, we're on the right path. We're going to give me something about how we're the most relevant team in this city, which is just wrong. And I'm sorry. You can't, if you're going to give me optimism and sunshine and rainbows, I'm not going to listen. Now, if you're like, yeah, we kind of suck, but things can happen. I'll be like, In.